nice.
So I am talking to. I'm going to try and get your name correct. It is Ivan Lubashevsky.
It's Labushevsky.
Labushevsky. So,
Yeah,
but people call you Vano. Yeah.
yeah. That's nickname that my bro give me when I was kid.
Okay. Cool. So, just to introduce you, we've been talking via the YouTube channel, and we've featured some of one of your videos. You are currently in the middle of a war, basically. You're living in Kiev, and
Now I moved to the western part of Ukraine because it's a bit safer here. It's
okay,
less bombing. I'm now nearby Lviv city.
okay. So you've moved out of the capital city to get away from the majority of the trouble.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, what was it like? I mean, I can't imagine one day you're teaching at your dojo and you're living your normal life, and then next day another country decides to kind of walk in with tanks, and I mean, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, I remember the last training we gather like Friday night or something like that. It was like we know about this situation that it becomes hot. It's like and I said the guys, okay, we will meet together maybe on Saturday if we have chance, and then it start.
So you managed to get one last training session in before.
Yeah. It was like 1-2 days before it starts.
Wow, that's crazy. So have most of the women in Ukraine and children left now? Is it just mainly the men left in the country?
So our women and children allowed to leave. So about 3 million people leave already, mostly in Poland, but in some Baltic countries.
My wife's from Slovakia, and she said
Oh,
that her relatives have said that there's a lot of people from Ukraine coming in. I think about 250,000 have come into Slovakia.
yeah, a
It's
lot
good
of people.
It's good that your neighbours are looking after you. That at least that's good. But I mean, how did you cope with it? I mean, it must be such a surreal, odd thing to be living a normal day-to-day life and training and just going about your business, and then something like this happened seemingly for no reason.
There's psychological research, and they said like you have first 12 days to somehow get used to it, and after 21st day you will be like normal. So it's really hard when you see the air raids, you see the sirens, and you had to go to the shelter, to the bombing shelter. It was like 1 or 2 times we go to the shelter at the school with my mother and my wife. We sit there and think what we should do next, what will happen. We see like blows when the bombs and rockets was shot down by our anti-air systems. But then after we sat there like 3-4 hours, we got tired and we just go home and sleep, because you have no power to sit there like a whole day.
No.
And so on. So people just like admit and take these feelings, and they start to react less to these air raids. We actually have these sirens like 1 or 2 times, mostly at the night, so most people sleep at this time, but sometimes it happens at the day. I see no bombing exactly to a city where we are now, But in Lviv, it was attacks, and some like factories and so on, they was distracted. So you get used to it somehow.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to see how the human mind and spirit reacts to extreme violence. And of course, as a martial artist, you've trained to kind of prepare yourself for dealing with conflict, especially as someone with a Aikido, or in your case, you do more of a daito-ryu Aikijujutsu style, don't you?
Yeah.
But you're still preparing yourself effectively for conflict and for facing that. But when it happens on such a scale and so unprovoked, it must really test your ability to just adjust to it. And I think it's astonishing you're sitting here now talking to me fairly calmly. Did you try and leave the country at all?
Once I tried to leave, but my papers wasn't complete. I needed few more stamps, so maybe I tried to leave this weekend. So I don't know what happened on the border, because our border service is quite severe to the man that tries to leave, because all of our men from 18 to 16, they like duty obligatory, and you might be called every minute.
Yeah. Okay.
So you just got a paper and you go to the war.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
friend of mine, some of my teammates already serve.
Okay. So is your wife and your mother safe now?
Yes, my mother stayed in Kiev, so in Kiev it's like a bit easier, because Russian troops goes away from the Kiev.
Right. Yeah.
So Kiev somehow safe.
Yeah.
It might be provocation and bombing and so on. I know that. I admit that, and somehow I live with that.
Yeah.
I know that my mother could be in danger because of bombing, because of some provocation with chemical weapon, or I don't know, maybe nuclear strike, whatever. So I understand that, but I cannot do anything with that. I can say like, "Hey guys, stop, don't do that." It's not my decisions. It's
No.
not my uh, like I can do that.
No.
Anything.
I understand. I can't imagine what it's like. Just so. How much of your normal life are you able to carry on? Can you work at all, or is everybody just trying to do whatever they can to help each other just get through this? I mean, are there
Uh,
still, are your banks still open? Can you go to supermarkets? Is the transport system still working? Are those things still kind of hanging together, or is it just however it happens on the day?
so it's quite different situation. Depends on what you did before war. I was like software engineer, so I just could connect to the network and continue to work and continue to get my money
Yeah.
that way. Some people that moved to the western part, they had to find some new job. Banks still open. We limited only to take some currencies like euros or dollars,
Yeah.
but national currency is okay. We could take the cash. At the beginning it was like 1,000 grivnas. It's our national currency. We could take, but then it's normalized, and it's okay now with cash, and it's okay now with banking. We have supplies like from Poland through the Lviv, and then from the middle part of Ukraine to the Kiev and other cities. So with the supplies, it's more or less fine. I've been scared that Kiev might be surrounded. They have no supplies. It's something like now it happened in Mariupol, but Russian troops can't surround Kiev because it's quite big city. So for Kiev and for my friends and relatives that stayed in Kiev, it's okay for now.
So, what's your feeling about how this is going to? I mean, what do you think is going to happen over the next few months?
It's I heard they have like two plans. For first plan, it's 1 month plan, and second, it's 2 months plan. So I think 1 month plan, it was like capture the Kiev, send their government, and try to somehow manage this with worldwide community, with other countries. Like if they capture Kiev for 4 or 5 days, so it will be okay, and so on. They didn't manage to capture the Kiev in 1 month.
Right.
So it's still okay with Kiev. So they will work from the eastern part, where this frozen conflict happens like 8 years before. So they try to do something with the eastern part. And of course, with the south, they need to pass from the eastern part to the Crimea.
Of course.
That was annexed 8 years ago. So I think next war action will be at the eastern part, but bombing will be to all of the country.
Right.
We have like resource on the internet, a map of air raids. So when air raids start, it take like whole the country, all of the districts, all of the parts of the country, they could be attacked.
Right. And it's like an app you can see on your phone or something, is it?
It might you may access this resource from any from the cell phone. We have like messengers. We have channels in the messengers that they alert you when something happens, and so on. So people informed. However, it won't help if you don't have anti-air in the city. So city could be bombed.
Right. Understood. So your internet and your flow of information is still working fairly well. Ukrainians can still get the they can still use Google, and they can still communicate. That's not being blocked in any way.
On territory that's controlled by Ukrainian troops, it's okay. But my friends now in Berdyansk, that controlled by Russian troops, and I can't contact with them like 1 week. So they just jammed signal and try to cut you from the information from the Ukrainian side.
So you've got no way of knowing how they are at the moment?
I don't know. It's like I have 1 week and they still keep silence. So I jam communication, and that's it.
This is it's an unbelievable situation. I just want to pass on some good wishes from some of the people that follow the channel. We've got best wishes from the UK and from Finland and from lots of different places in America. Obviously from here in New Zealand, from Australia. Lots of people said there's not much we can do, but everyone's kind of supporting you guys and hoping that somehow this just gradually calms down and peters out into nothing, but and that you guys can get out of this safely, because it's just an insane situation. It's crazy. Look, I don't want to upset you too much, because this must be very, very hard to talk about, and I do appreciate you talking to me about it. Let's talk a little bit about your dojo. So you've got a small, like a private dojo, yeah?
Okay, I'll try to explain about my martial art career because I start like 1996 from the local Aikido dojo.
Mm-hmm.
So I practiced there like 5 or 7 years, and then I moved to other dojo that held by Takashi Kuroki sensei that lived in Kiev. He practiced Nissho Budo, so I have some experience with Nissho Budo.
Mm-hmm.
And also with Iaido, that is a part of the Nissho Budo, Jodo, and so on. And then at the end of 2007, friend of mine came from I do not remember, it's like was maybe Moscow, maybe something other. So he brought daito-ryu in Kiev. And then we start practice daito-ryu like end of 2007, the beginning 2008. At the beginning, it was not so much people. It really was like a tiny group, like 10, 12 people. Now it's like 6, 7 people left. So
Okay.
it's really like small private dojo. Of course, anyone who wants to join our dojo, we're welcome. However, less people came to the last time. It was like 4 or 5 years ago when last student came just to see how it works.
Do you think that's because you train in quite a hard style compared to like modern Aikido, for example?
Actually, daito is a bit soft than more Aikikai dojos.
Oh, okay.
However, people have like strange feeling that it's soft and it's like Aikido. They have own opinion about Aikido. They came, they look for like a strong person that hit each other, twisting each other hand. They see us working in relaxed manner and they just leave. Something like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it's a perception thing. So where have you got your where have you got your instruction from? Was it from the original person that came, or do you have a link to somewhere in Japan or somewhere elsewhere that you get kind of some input from, technical input?
So we invite Jyrki Ryttila from the Helsinki to teach us, and
Oh, yeah.
he moved to Ukraine twice a year and teach us like we have 4, 5 or 6 days training camps, like 5, 6 hours per day, and then he leave the half year, and we practice that we managed to learn at that time.
Excellent, excellent. And so, how many times a week do you normally train? I mean, do you get together once a week, or is it more often?
We have like 3, 4 times per
Oh,
week trainings.
great. And was the dojo in someone's house, or was it at when you say it's a private dojo, was it?
It's a dojo of wrestling school in Kiev. We have a tight relationship to the Greco-Roman wrestling guys.
Ah, fantastic.
We actually practice with them sometimes, like 3 or 4 years. We go to the Greco-Roman wrestling trainings.
Excellent.
It was really fun, but when we became older, so it's like calm down. We have no power to wrestle with young people. We became older. However, we have wrestling skills, and I know how to wrestle in Greco-Roman way.
That's good. Now, does any of those skills cross over to your daito-ryu the aikido?
Uh, you see, I have like favorite technique from Greco-Roman wrestling,
Hmm.
and I have one technique from daito-ryu. Actually, I should told you about more about daito-ryu and about takumakai, but it will be a little bit earlier, a little bit later.
Yeah.
So I have like one technique from Greco-Roman wrestling, one technique from takumakai, and they looks like omote and ura.
But they're almost the same. Almost the
Yeah,
same.
it's almost the same, but they look like omote and ura.
Okay. One is a forwards version, one is a turning version.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
And when we showed some exercise, some technique from daito-ryu to these guys from Greco-Roman wrestling, they understand the idea completely by watching it at first time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I try and cross train with every single art I can find. I'm a huge fan of training with other arts, and after a while, you start seeing the things that are similar rather than seeing the differences, because we've only got two arms and legs. So eventually, it all boils down to the same stuff. It's all taking the balance and body movement. And let me ask you a question. Do you think that when things calm down again, you'll be able to go back to what you were doing, or do you think you're going to have to start afresh? And if you do start over, like new, relaunch the dojo and new advertising, do you think what you train will have been affected by what you've had to go through?
Yeah, so I think we just continue to do what we did, because all of our dojo members, I contact them twice at the day and ask him, are you okay? Are you connected? You stay tuned? They say all of them okay. So I think when we finish this war, we start to do what we did.
That's great.
And it will be okay.
It's like a family. It's great that you're looking after each other. It's brilliant. Well, look, if there's anything we can do to help you guys, I know it's a bit difficult, but I'm going to say to everybody again, go and check out your channel. There's lots of really good, short, interesting videos on there. If everyone subs to the channel, just give that a leg up and show it some support. But we'll keep in touch, and as things go along, hopefully as things get better, let's talk again. And hopefully when you come out the other side, we can either get you over to one of our camps here in New Zealand, or we'll come over and visit you. We'll fill your dojo up one day.
Okay. It sounds like a nice plan.
Yeah. Okay. Look, thank you so much, Vano, for speaking to me. I know it must have been very, very difficult. I really appreciate your bravery, and please stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay. That'll do.
We're good. Ukraine will win.
All right. So that